Yo, it is Thursday night, and y'all know what that time means is that it's time for collecting Uncensored. And tonight's guest is one of my favorite YouTube channels to sit there and watch. New creator, I think he came out this year, if I'm not mistaken. Loves dollar bins, which y'all know I am a sucker for dollar bins. One of his favorite characters is Wolverine, and so I love seeing all the books that he gets for Wolverine. And he just likes just weird kind of stuff, and it's just awesome. But he's also got like keys. I don't know. His collection is amazing, and I can't wait to bring him out and let's start talking about what all he collects, how he collects, things like that. Maybe you can get some tips and tricks. We'll see. But yo, let's bring on out Eric from Side Quest Collectibles. What's going on, dude?
I got some mad skills there, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, little did anybody know that I was an understudy for one Mr. Patrick Swayze back in the day.
Nice.
So I got some tips from the man.
That's fantastic. Eric, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with me this evening, dude. I greatly appreciate you. Your collection is awesome, and I cannot wait to just start talking to you and like diving into this.
I can stress you used the word weird. It's weird. But it's fun. I mean, and that was one of the things when I started my channel. I said, I'm at that age. I don't care about getting caught up in specs and I gotta chase this and chase. Let's just have fun. I mean, some of the stuff I've gotten, I got some cool big books and stuff.
Yeah.
And some of that's just, it's like when I was younger, I couldn't get those, Now I'm an old man. I get what I want. And I get weird stuff. I get weird stuff. You said dollar books. Yes, I love dollar books. Love them. Love them.
Yo, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I like the influx that we're seeing in the comic book community of people who are like picking up just weird books. Like this guy right here, Nate from Hall Yeah Comics. He's got some of the weirdest books, but I love it.
Oh my God. Me and Nate. Nate. Oh God, where did I put it? I went and dug mine out just in case Nate might be up here, so we can just we can show our love for Crow.
Hold on. There we go.
Yeah, this is one of those weird 80s movies, and something I like to do is I like going after these Marvel movie books. I mean, I had to get 1 and 2.
Nice.
Get 1, but yeah, if those like they made one for Dragonlance, and I think earlier in the week I showed one for Dark Crystal, and one of my all-time favorite movies, Logan's Run.
Yes,
they made a comic of this weird stuff. I can't help it. It's just something about it. I don't know. I like it.
You already got a bunch of people saying ditto. They're into it too. That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember the first time I made my wife watch that movie, and she's like, "What the hell is this? Is this fantasy? Is it sci-fi?" And I said, "It's awesome. That's what it is.
Everything.
The only thing maybe close to it would be Beastmaster.
Yeah,
that's top of the list there too. I like those really cheesy movies. So what can I say?
Nice. Let's say hello to the chat real quick. We got some people rolling in. You checked in here earlier, so there you go. Yep. Brian LCS is in the house. What's going on, homie? Thanks for coming out. Phil's Treehouse Uncensored. This will be good. I think so. It's always good. I have fun. One Shot Comics in the house says, "Hey nerds, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming out." Big Nasty Comics. I like that. What's going on?
Up, brother.
Thanks for hanging out with us this evening. Appreciate you. Big Nasty says he loves the odd books as well. Nice. Ryan Colossus Collected. There we go. Hey, my friends. What's going on, man? Appreciate you. He's got a nice special that's coming up. Christmas special coming up. Let's see. Phil was talking about Runner. Carousel.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we're quoting the movie now. Nice. All right, Eric. Well, there's so I sent you a thing, like I do most all my guests, and so you can be like tons of different types of collectors. We all know this, and you can be more
Yeah.
than one on top of that, like key collector, character collector, run collector, reader, cover collector, cover lover, like whatever the case is. Uh, what kind of collector do you see yourself as, and what season of collector do you feel like you're in right now?
All right. Let's see. So I am a couple different things, but I know first thing I am, and I've always been since I was a kid, was an artist. I'm an art collector.
Nice.
Um, I guess that covers covers really,
Yeah.
because that's really the first thing you see in the comic is the cover,
Mhm.
right? And if it
Yeah.
grabs you, you're gonna want to find out more about whatever's on the cover, the characters, or maybe there's something going on. You're like, what the hell's going on? I got to read this thing to find out what's this madness. So
Right.
it's always been art for me. Even once you get inside, art
Okay.
is a big thing for me. And then, I mean, I like characters. I collect based on characters. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of hotness or spec book it is. I'm probably not going to pick it up if I don't really like the character. You know,
Okay.
like I don't want to bash him because I do get his books sometimes, but like Batman, I'm not a big Batman guy. I think because growing up like in the late 80s, 90s, I got so sick of Batman. Everybody, I got sick of it. So I think some of that kind of molded me or pushed me towards characters that were less known or popular. Uh,
Okay.
like, see, I almost caught myself. Aquaman. I always bro. It's fucking not that or Aquafina. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he was a character that I remember back in the 70s when I was really little, growing up. Green Lantern, those are some
Yes.
of they're not super popular. They're popular, but not super popular. And then even Marvel. At the time, like Wolverine's probably hands down my favorite character.
Okay.
But when I got into him, he wasn't super popular yet. He was the guy that goes berserk in the X-Men and just kicks everybody's ass. So he didn't get popular until his series came out in the late 80s.
Okay.
So character wise, art wise, and then I think now I still fall in that, which with all the variant covers is almost hurts you a little bit.
Right.
But I do like collecting runs too.
Okay.
Because like when I come to read books, like I got back into comics after like 20 years out, a
Okay.
couple years ago. It was one of those moving boxes. I found my old long boxes and I was like, I like to finish this run from 30 years ago. Went down that rabbit hole. Next thing I know, I was back in. But I got back into, I want to see what the X-Men were now. And I got
Yeah.
into the Krakoa. I was like, right,
Okay.
probably a quarter, maybe halfway in through their whole world. So I had to do a lot of backtracking. And I had a hard time starting to read those series until I had them because I didn't
Mm.
want to read and be like, oh, what the hell happens, type
Yeah.
of thing. So I think sometimes I read them, but sometimes I don't just because it drives me nuts if I don't know what happens.
Mm.
It depends how much I'm into the story. If I'm really invested, it drives me nuts. But for the most part, I can let it roll and just be like, oh, I'll read it whenever. You know,
Are you currently reading the new X-Men stuff since they've left Krakoa and all that?
this is a sore spot. I am hands down an X-Men junkie. I love the X-Men. One of my goals getting back in was finishing certain runs, and one of those was the Claremont run, which I
Nice.
did. But at that point, because I was getting books here and there, I'm like, oh shit, I might as well just get the rest of them now. So that and like finishing my Wolverine run, which I did recently do that. Actually, got the last issue right behind me. This was the last one I needed.
Nice.
1,000. I could not find this in the wild anywhere. So
Nice.
my comic shop.
I love my comic shop.
And then, of course, there's another one I couldn't find in the wild. I had to
Oh,
get this cover,
nice.
So these were the last two I wanted for every volume. I have every volume now of his
Okay.
solo series. So now it's
Wow.
like my wife said, now what? I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to attack one shots and crossovers. And I mean, I guess I could, but that's like, holy crap. That's like saying, I'm going to
Right?
get all the Spider-Mans. Yeah. I mean, it's just as bad. I don't know if I can do it, but um, what was I lost track of my thought.
No, you were just talking about the characters and the stories the runs you were collecting and whatnot like that.
Yeah. So I mean, now we're talking about Krakoa, and the new X-Men. I have been getting the stuff after Krakoa,
Okay.
and I was kind of like worried because I was like, I like Krakoa because it was so different from anything else that they did with the X universe. And I, like everybody else, was just addicted to it. It was really good. We were getting to see highlight on characters that we don't normally see. Some of them I could have done without, but I get it. Some people like them. They're like they're little CD lister characters that people like.
Yeah.
Now this new stuff, I don't know, dude. I'm optimistic, and I gave a lot of these titles chances.
Yeah.
Some of them I've already dropped after just 2 or 3 issues. I'm like, I can't, with the price of comics. It's
Yeah.
hard to be loyal, I guess, in that
Yeah.
sense of keep getting something that you're just not enjoying. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that because there's people out there that do enjoy it. It's just, it's not for me.
Yeah.
So there's some that I'm still gonna get, like the main titles. I'm still gonna get Wolverine because I don't think there's anything I haven't enjoyed by him.
Okay.
Maybe some of the '90s stuff, but that's a decade that's all in its own.
Right. Right. Nice. Let's say hello to Kenneth Bird. He is in the house. Had a birthday this month.
Well, happy birthday,
Kenneth. We got Cliff on comics as well in the house. What's going on, homie? Thanks for coming and
Cliffy?
hanging out with me. Appreciate you. Nate says that's the right attitude. Every book doesn't have to be for you. I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's a big time tip right there. I think a lot of people need to hear that. Bryant with I Have Comic Issues is in the house. What's going on, man? Appreciate you. So what are some of your favorite runs that you've like? I know the X-Men Claremont run, but what's some other runs that you're like, I had to get this. I had to finish that up.
Let me grab a stack here. So I am gonna grab a stack. Oh, I think this is the right. I showed you earlier all the stacks. My wife come in and went, "Holy cow!" Yeah, it looked like a bomb blew off in here. These
Colossus says, or you can get everything.
Some days that's what I feel like. Okay, some of my favorite runs. Well, this one fooled me because it's right on top. Was this run?
Nice.
This was an early run for me, as I think I was in high school when this came out. And funny enough, this is a run that turned me on to John Buscema art.
Okay.
Who I didn't really pay attention to art till probably the late 80s when I was in art school and stuff myself. And I started noticing, like styles. I mean, this was just before the big blow up of McFarlane, Jim Lee.
Right.
So I started taking note of artists drawing a little bit different. And this series turned me on to his stuff that
nice.
Love his style. I mean, he doing some research recently of him. He was a workhorse for Marvel, and I don't think
cool.
he got a lot of credit. That some of the stuff he did, and here's one of my favorites of recent. Love his stuff in Conan, sword and sorcery stuff that just doesn't work today's standards. But I think I'm trying to find my. I think this is the pile. I want. Nope. I got so many piles here. So some of my favorite runs, and I think they're in the bottom here. that was one. I think another one that early for me starting was this run,
Oh,
and Colossal
nice.
Collector will like this one. This, not just because of the art, John Byrne art, I think is kind of what sucked me in, because at the same time I was getting into X-Men. So, it's all that early 100s that he did with, the Phoenix Saga and all that. And then I found out there's a Canadian kind of X-Men team. So, and I mean, this was just a basic number one. I think I got this for a couple bucks back in the day in a long
Yeah.
box. I think I started collecting around 20 something. But yeah, I mean, early Jim Lee, that's when he
There you
kind of
go.
was cutting his teeth, was on Alpha Flight. Um, X Factor, I think, was a big one for me because it was just starting. And at that time, I was like, I looked at back issues for the X Men, and I'm like, I'm a poor little kid with an allowance. I can't afford some of these. So then they started this with the OG team. I was like, oh, I can pick this up for what's $1.25. So
Yeah.
it was my way into the X-Men. And then once stuff started blowing up, I was like, oh, a British version of the X-Men with two characters I know already.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a good segue. And but yeah, some of my early ones, it was always X-Men for me.
Nice.
Here's a nice one that I got
Yes.
signed by Andy this summer. So yeah,
You keep throwing these books out, and
I need.
Holy crap!
I just feel like it's too early, but like you just
I,
kept throwing them out like that. Like what?
I know.
Holy crap!
I wish I had enough foresight when I was a kid to get more than one of these damn books. Because I remember us all. Oh, we gotta get that new Liefeld book. I got one. And one of these days, I got to put it in a nicer bag, not this crappy original bag that's like I peel it apart because it's degrading. But yeah, and then when they launched this series, oh my god, that's when I think I was sold in the X-Men. All this Jim Lee stuff. I don't know why I just showed the same book. Yeah, I got all of them. I remember going to the comic store and buying all these. I can only get two this week, so save me the other two for next week. But yeah, besides X-Men, I mean, Surfer.
Okay.
This volume, what was this? Volume 3, I think it was. This is where I cut my teeth on Ron Lim. Like I said before, I was starting to recognize artists at that time. The whole Infinity Gauntlet. Me and my cousins loved Frank Castle. We were like, what is this? We thought he was a villain at the time because he was still kind of that, you didn't know if he was a good guy, bad guy. But yeah, when they started his regular series, I was getting that and War Journal. This is probably what got me stuck in Doctor Doom. I love Doctor Doom. I actually tend to like the villains more than the heroes. I don't have too many favorite heroes, but I got more villains that I like. Him, Magneto are some of my favorites.
Okay.
But yeah, when they launched all this stuff, I was there getting all that shiny and this one, I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan.
Nice.
I kind of go back and forth. I read them for a while and then I leave them. Then I come back to see what's going on and then I leave them again. And this, I was in them when Bagley was doing all this Carnage stuff. And look at this, still in the stupid little bag from way back. And I'm gonna keep them all nice in my little bag.
Right.
My wife says I am a hoarder, but I'm a collector. That's what
I've never seen that bag. I didn't like. Is that what all those books came in? What like?
I even wrote Spider-Man, so I knew what was in it.
What's the story on the? I need to know the story on the bag now.
This was like an old store bag that they used to give to the stores.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Like now we have the a lot of the bags you see now are for Free Comic Book Day, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this was something Marvel did way back in the day, and I still with their featured stuff that they were pushing.
I so would have kept that too. That's freaking cool. Like that's something you don't see.
No, I love seeing stuff like that at shows or I love finding old stores that have stuff like that still in their store from 30 years ago. more ones that so basically late 80s, 90s were all stuff that I started collecting. Ghost Rider, Namor, New Warriors. I loved this series so much that I had to go get Speedball #1. Nice. And of course 90s Shine.
Right?
Nova. I'm like, yeah. So those were just some of the books that when I started collecting, those were like the series that I collected. And then after leaving and coming back, those are the series that I went back to like finish the runs.
Okay.
Because I stopped in the 90s. All those series were all half complete for me. So
did you wind up finishing all those series that you showed?
let's see. Yeah, I think so. I'm
Wow,
still working
nice.
on that Ghost Rider one because those
Okay.
late Ghost Riders, Danny Ketch, man, those are hard to find. They're just low print runs. When I find them, they're beat to hell. So
Yeah.
I think I got that under 10 left, and then that one will be done. So,
Okay.
but
Nice.
that stuff's all like nostalgia for me, as me going back and revisiting. And I did some of the stuff from the 80s, stuff I missed out, like West Coast Avengers. That was big in the 80s, and I didn't get a lot of it, so I went back. And dollar bins, I find this stuff in
Right.
dollar bins. So it's easy to take a chance in the dollar bin on something that is like, yeah, I remember that, but I just never collected it.
How influential do you think nostalgia is for you and your collecting?
Uh, Very much so.
I was gonna say, for you to go back and like want to complete those,
Oh
it
my
seems like that's a
gosh.
big factor for you in your collection.
Yeah, it is, because I actually still have a lot of the like my first comics that
Yeah.
I either was given to by my dad when I probably had to have been 6 or 7 at that time, or some of the first books that I ever bought. Like I still have. Oh my god, I don't know if it's going to come off on camera very well how beat this is. I still have my first
Oh,
printing of
nice.
Transformers 1. And I don't know, you can see the
That's
dog
good.
ears and look at that
I was gonna say.
spine. It's got a hell of a roll on it, because what I did with this is I did stuff like this. I had it in my back pocket, my backpack. When I went to camp, I was reading it on the beach, so it's probably sand in here still. Um, yeah, this thing has seen many, many miles. Hey, dope.
This
Um,
guy right here, dope, appreciates everything that you're saying right now. He's like he's amen and everything else from
oh
home.
yeah,
What's
I
going on,
mean,
dope? Thanks for hanging out.
this one's not as bad, but I remember reading this one. These were like some of my favorite comics growing up, the Transformers. Um, some of the ones that I still have. This is actually, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, I got a couple here. So these are probably my first comics that I was ever given. Those were the first ones I probably bought. But my dad, I think, is very responsible for getting me into comics. I was
Okay.
an only child, and weekend dad. There's only so much of me he could take, so he started giving me comics to read, keep me quiet, and it kind of is what got me going in the art too, because I would study the art. I would try to redraw it myself, reproduce
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I remember this is still, God, I don't know if you can see. Look at how old that nasty tape is. Cardboard. This was. It's nostalgia. It's nostalgia. Yeah, this was one of the first books I ever got, was X-Men 65.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
nothing really important. Cool cover.
Yeah.
It's my first exposure to the X-Men. I was like, who's this guy with wings? And I mean, I think at that time the Spider-Man show with Iceman was on, so I kind
Okay.
of knew who he was. So that was kind of like a gateway to it, that I knew him at least.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't know who Cyclops, Angel, Beast, Jean Grey was. I was like, who's that redhead? But yeah, and then he gave me stuff like this.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I think this was the first Black Widow's new costume or something in this one.
Yeah.
How about this one? Iceman again.
Yeah.
So yeah, he gave me a lot of Spider-Man, and I think my dad got these off the spinner rack like in 1969 or 70. I think these are from. So he
Oh,
kind of passed
wow.
them on to me, you know. I think he kept them in a brown paper bag, so a little bit of a variety. And then yeah, some
Oh,
old
nice.
school Silver Surfer. I have half of this run because he gave them to me. That he bought them off the
Wow.
racks. So I need the big books, of course. I did get Mephisto not that long ago, and I still need a number
Okay.
one. But I got have a lot of the tail end of it from him. So,
Nice.
but yeah, those were books that kind of got me into comics. And I mean, uh, man, I am running through my piles, and this is good. I mean, some of my influences were stuff like, okay, here's some big books. Space
Oh,
Ghost. I
nice.
just got this one. I loved Hanna-Barbera. I grew up watching the cartoons.
Yeah.
So when I discovered that there was comics of these, that kind of really got me going. I mean, these were just, I remember
Yes.
finding these for real cheap as a kid on old spinner racks at like Walgreens or, Osco, Jewel Osco or, whatever grocery stores when they still had these on the racks. And I would get them. And I mean, I watched cartoons like the Super Friends, which is probably why I started getting this recently because it's nostalgia, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
oh, here we go. One of the,
True
and then
fan.
stuff like this. I'm just like, what? What is this
Oh,
mashup?
yes.
I'm trying to track these down and they're hard to find. And then recently discovering that this is a thing,
Right?
I'm like, oh my God. And the fact that there's like 36 issues that I have to find. I found 4 so far. I
Yeah,
can't believe it.
yeah. There was somebody else that was showing that on their channel here not long ago as well. Said they were I think mycomicshop.com has them. Nice
Yeah.
underdog.
Yeah. And this was another one, which it makes me sad they took him off the air because I don't know if anybody remembers how he turned into underdog. He had his little secret ring that he'd do a flippy flip and pop a pill. And, at the time when that was on, it's like, ooh, maybe this isn't a good idea. But I still liked him. Yeah. Other influences, Star Wars,
Nice.
um, Voltron.
Nice.
I'm just going down memory lane here. But yeah, I
Right?
mentioned this cartoon, so of course,
Yes.
that's influenced me. Oddly enough, though, like I said, Spider-Man in and out with me. I like him
Uh-huh.
sometimes, but then you get kind of samey with the stories, so I check out for a while, come back, and then of course G.I. Joe. Here's some of my originals, and I've upgraded them since. Um, but yeah, just some of my influences. And if you put an ape on a cover, I am gonna buy it. It's one of my weird things I like collecting is apes on the comics.
Nice.
Better yet, if they have guns. My wife hates this movie. So
Apes toting.
yeah.
That's awesome. So a lot of that seems like you were saying, nostalgia. You've watched cartoons, you grew up watching those kind of shows and things
Yeah.
like that. However, you're really mutant heavy, and I feel like maybe you getting that first X-Men was part of it. But what is it about the X-Men that really grab you? What is it about mutants in general? It seems like that just really grabs you. That
I know
you've got to read more.
I know a lot of people what draws them in is that like that overall theme that they have for the X-Men of, they're shunned because they're different and
Hmm.
that kind of thing. I know a lot of people are drawn to that, and that I do think that's some of it. Not that I could really relate to that. I just kind of thought that because the way they were written separate from the rest of the Marvel universe, they were so separated from it that I thought that's kind of what made them unique and cool and different,
Mm,
is that they're not kind of rolled into the rest of the Marvel universe. They're not like, oh, there goes, Storm or Angel flying through. No, they're like, oh my God, it's a mutant. So whereas opposed that if they saw Spider-Man swinging, they'd be like cheering, oh, it's Spider-Man, he's coming to save us or something.
yeah.
So I always thought that was kind of interesting. And I think in the 80s, I think it was about mid 80s when they kind of started making them a little more edgier. And I
Mm,
think that's what drew me in. Their stories started to be more serious tones.
yeah.
Uh, which one was it? I think I have it in a pile. Um, yeah. So one of the first, I think, stories that I read was probably this. I got this as a trade, the original
Oh,
miniseries, and this
nice.
was hardcore for a kid to read this, and how he's like killing people. He don't care. He's getting the job done. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, this is pretty serious. This isn't just one and done story. You save the day type of thing. Everybody goes their separate ways.
Right.
Um, but here it is. This one. This one
Oh,
is probably
nice.
what really made me an X-Men fan. Just the fact that I knew who this was,
Uh-huh.
Magneto, big bad villain. Um, this is when they started shedding light into him turning to a good side, and you understood what his reasoning was and why he was doing what he was doing. And it really made me think about the villains a little bit more. That's why I think I like villains more, because they're complicated. He is such a complicated character,
Mm-hmm.
just based on his history. Uh, Doom is a little bit different. Doom humors me because it's about his ego.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody knows what they're doing. I'm right. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
Whereas Magneto, similar, but he has reasons, so you kind of can relate to him and understand why he's doing what he's doing. He was,
Mm,
his family was in a concentration camp, so he saw all this horrible stuff done to his people, Jewish people, at that time, and it relates to the mutants, same
yeah.
thing. So, but yeah, I think that's kind of the attraction, and just the fact that they got really cool characters. I mean, we got a guy popping claws, and he's just tearing through people, and you shoot him, and he's just like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Exactly. Jonathan of Collectibles to Astonish is in the house, as
Ah,
well as Chop and Drop 2013. What is going on, y'all? Appreciate y'all hanging out. Nate says books are great to collect, but they are meant to be read. Love to see those loved and beat up books continue to be treasured.
okay. I got one sitting next to me that I think is hilarious because my wife's like, "Why did you buy that?" We're talking about dollar bins. I love dollar bins. You never know what you're going to collect. I am
Right?
a fan of Supergirl. It's kind of a more recent thing. I've always liked Superman, but I wanted to do something a little bit different, Supergirl. So I started finding a bunch of this red daughters when she was got a red ring,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
stuff I missed out on,
Uh
in the
huh.
dollar bin. Dollar bin.
Yeah.
But then this one, okay, this one, she's like, "Why did you get this?" Nom 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 nom. It's got a big chunk gone. I don't know what happened. I don't know if a mouse or it got ripped, but you know what? I looked through this before I bought it, and I'm like, okay, I can read most of everything in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't cut off too much that is important. If it does, whatever. I still want it. I can't disturb the run. I have 32. I've got to get 33, right?
That's
Because knowing
fantastic.
my luck, it would take me forever to find another copy of this.
Right?
So I'm like, no,
Right?
I'm not going to go down that.
You can upgrade it later.
Yeah, later. I'll find another one in a dollar bin.
Nate also says, referring to Underdog, nothing wrong with pills. They make me feel super.
Especially right now when you got a cold, and I've been doing the green death myself lately just to get some sleep. So
Colossus Collector says, fun fact, Eric just sitting in comics waist high and just pulls comics out from around him. You
Ryan knows
have,
me well.
I was going to say, you have no idea how close you are, Ryan. You have no... That's fantastic. Let's see. Rich from Comic Cap Collectibles is in the house. What's going on, homie? Thanks for coming and hanging out. Appreciate you. We got a question from Ryan. He says, Eric, how many comics do you read a week?
I try. Oh my gosh, it's hard with my work schedule and everything else, and the channel and all that. I try to read at least one a day. On a good day, I can read about 4 a day. So was that about maybe 10, 15, 20 a week? That's kind of, and that's kind of more or less my new pulls, and then maybe some older stuff that I dig out type of thing.
I got you.
So, and this I think goes back to me being an art guy, getting books because of the art. A lot of times I am speed reading them. I'm sorry, Chris Claremont, but there's probably many times I didn't read all your bubbles and I just read a couple words and said, okay, I know what's going on. And I just follow the pictures.
His are very wordy. Like
yes. And he uses big words too. As a kid, I'm like, I don't know what that means. So yeah, I just follow the pictures. I know what's going on.
Yes. That's fun. Do you ever do? Are you strictly like? Well, I've seen you had a trade or whatever, but are you pretty much just floppies alone, or do you do any kind of digital at all? Or
I've tried digital. Like I still have my subscription to the Marvel app, and a couple times it's been great. In like looking into a series from something that I think happened the last year is I started getting into the 70s stuff that I just wasn't exposed to growing up. I wasn't there for it. So I missed out on a lot of it. And the digital app was great for looking into that stuff and seeing if I really was interested. I think it was responsible for me getting into volume 1 of Ghost Rider, Son of Satan, which these, like, looking at these issues from back then were just ridiculous. And I laughed at these covers. I mean, I know the issue of Ghost Rider. It was like 6 or 7. He's riding his hog, and and it's a big classic face of the devil, just round face guy with horns, little beard and mustache, and it says Satan. I was like, oh my God, what is this? So I had to get it, and it's just ridiculous. The same thing with Son of Satan. I'm just like, guy with a big pentagram on his bare chest that he's probably waxing and stuff. And so I discovered how ridiculous some of that 70s stuff was that I got sucked into it. So yeah, that the digital was great for that, but I don't go on it enough. I've tried trades and omnis. Like I have a bunch of omnis of like Moon Knight, the first one, because there's a lot of big books that I didn't want to go chase them down just because they're expensive books. Or last Christmas, my wife got me, and it's huge. The omni for the Hush storyline, the whole thing, all the the side one shots and all that, same thing. There's no way I was gonna spend the money and the time tracking those down, so I got it all in one big volume. I have a Turtles one like that too. That's I think up to 20 or something like that. Same thing. I had those, which sucks. I don't know what happened to them.
Oh,
I think they were given
the first
away.
volume of Turtles. You had all that?
Yeah, and I think they were given away or something by parents.
Wow.
So I'm like, with what those go for now, I'm like, there's no way. So I just got
those first 4 especially.
Yeah, I just got the whole collected one just so I can be nostalgia and read those then. And it sucks. It sucks, but I've gotten some other stuff from that era that aren't so big. One of them I think is behind me. I'm looking behind me. Oh yeah, it's right where Aqua Bro is. Let me grab it. Move Aqua, bro.
Good night, Nate. Hope you're having a good one. I think he's gone by now.
Yeah,
but
this
still,
was a series that
appreciate you,
was
Nate.
out about the same time Turtles was breaking onto the scene. That whole independent in the like mid '80s, all black and white. I love this series. If anybody has never checked out this series, check this out. If you kind of like, it's '80s anime basically, where everybody's a samurai or a ninja or something, you know. But it's that classic '80s indie where it's black and white. You can really see the line work, which is what I like about it. I think it's only 20 something issues. I got so many of these from my comic shop for like next to nothing. I think this number one was the only one I spent a lot on. And I had a couple still too. I just upgraded them since they were cheap enough. Love that series though. It was a series that at that time I was getting into art. I can really see the artist line work and that stuff. And I think that's what I love about those old, any independents really, from that time period. Or some of the great artists like John Buscema and Plug. I love Plug's monster stuff that he does. So yeah.
Got you. Let's say goodnight to, let's see, we said goodnight to Nate here a second ago, so he is gone. Big Nasty as well. Good night, sir. Appreciate you coming hanging out. TJ, I don't think I shouted you out earlier, and I apologize, but yo, thanks for coming hanging out with us, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Let's see. Colossus says one a day is a good system. He likes that. Chop says I'd love the dollar bins. My LCS is a dollar wall, maybe 30 to 40 books, and most are damaged and have a shit ton of them. I need some dollar bins. Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Let's see. Colossus also said, "Oh man, I love Claremont, but it might as well be J.R. Tolkien."
Yeah. I remember as a kid reading that stuff first time. I reread so many of those issues over and over again just to understand them. What's going on?
Yeah. Chop says, I have also lost some greats to the parent vortex.
Mm-hmm. Toys too, right?
Right. All right, so you've said several times about the artwork and how that's been influential to you and how you really appreciate the artwork, you know, and you were naming Buscema and you said Pug, was it Pug? Poe?
Poog.
Okay, I apologize. Yes, Poog a second ago as well. What are some of your favorite artists in comic books, and what are some of their, like, do you have any of their works nearby where you're like, it's this stuff right here, this is what gets me going?
Yeah. So when I was in the thick of it, it was that time when everything was blowing up, McFarlane, and I've showed some of these already, Jim Lee, Liefeld. I mean, that stuff was hot back then. And I still like a lot of that stuff. And I mean, Arthur Adams was another one that I really liked. I remember buying this, and I was just like, this was another one of my entry into the X-Men, because you couldn't afford those early ones. So you just got classic X-Men to read them. Let's see, Arthur Adams. There's another Arthur Adams one. This is another early one that I bought, and then I had him sign it, and Chris Claremont signed that one.
Nice.
John Byrne was the one that kind of influenced me at that time. Who else did we got? I think I got some of them in this pile. Actually, this was a series that I loved because you got to see different artists draw different characters. It's a great way to get introduced to characters that you didn't know about. Here we go.
Probably artists as well.
Bill Sienkiewicz.
Oh, nice.
I mean, he did this stuff. The stuff he did on Moon Knight, oh my God, is so different from like 70s or many of the 80s stuff. It was very, ahead of its time for the artwork, and the fact that I've always loved Dracula. You know, I liked Halloween growing up. So if you had stuff like this, I was going to get it. Let's see. Do I have? Oh, here's a pretty cool. This one, I think I started this series just because of the art.
Okay.
What was this? This was Bart Sears. Yeah, I loved his style. I don't know what it was about his style that attracted me to it. I don't. I think it was the how it was very. His style was round. It was very fluid. But yeah, I mean, those were some of the at that time period that I liked. Oh, here's some McFarlane.
Yes.
So
nice.
Yeah, image stuff. All that image stuff is kind of like an artist delight. You know, classic Jim Lee and
yes.
That's still got Silvestri is one of my favorite artists. I still have yet to meet him, but I love Silvestri, and you know where I'm going, right? You know, image here, so some Savage Dragon. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Ooh, tiny.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Bam! Where's the feet? I don't see one foot in this freaking but lots of pockets. So yeah,
poor Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, I know.
Him and his millions of dollars not drawing feet.
I mean, these are all artists from that time period. Jay Lee, who still does phenomenal stuff. Some of the stuff that he's doing. But then, I mean, and I still like a lot of these artists, and you don't see as much work by a lot of these artists anymore. So I started, and I think that's what got me into some of the 70s stuff. I started looking at stuff I missed out on, like John Buscema, Plug, who was doing like Man Thing and all those monster books from the 70s. And then even Kirby. You know, Kirby's kind of a legend. And I know there's a lot of people that don't like Kirby. They don't like his style, his blockiness. But I remember, I don't think I have the art book anymore. But I do have an art book somewhere over here. I do remember seeing an art book that he did, probably with Stan too, where he was breaking down composition. Now, Kirby's been drawing since, I think he started in the 30s. So he's like your classic illustrator. He knows how to move your eye through not just a panel, but the whole page. So I think that's one of the things that's, even if you don't like his art, I think you got to appreciate what he was doing. He was like a true artist he was directing your eye through the story and highlighting where he wanted you to look and stuff like that. So a lot of those older artists that many of them have been gone for many years now. I can appreciate their art style because it was different. It was an old school art style, just the process and all that. So,
I think that goes for like that same mentality goes for storytelling as well. I recently read The Dark Knight. The series, the Frank Miller one.
Yeah.
And I did not care for it at all. And I was expecting to really enjoy it and really like it. And my conclusion was like, I appreciate it for what it is, because without it, I don't feel like we would have gone to the places that we've gone to now.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you can look at it and mark it as a point in time where Batman changed. That's like you open the door, or Pandora's box, right? You can't close Pandora's box once it's open. So sometimes it's hard to go back to that because we've had so much after it that it's kind of hard to look at that. And I think that's how some of the art from the 60s, you can look at the 60s art that way too, right? We're used to 90s extreme, or, modern stuff is the day of the digital. So it's hard to go back to that stuff.
Let's say hello to Signature King real quick. He popped in the chat. What's going on, man? Appreciate you coming out. Says, howdy do, fella comic nerds. What's going on? Chop and Drop says, so many artists, old and new, that makes it harder and harder for me to pick up my faves. I do love some realistic art, some toonish art, and that web head art. Nice. What do you feel like as far as the current climate of artists and the amount of variance that we're getting now?
Mm,
How does that make you feel about like that part of the hobby?
it's rough. And I know the companies, they want your dollar. So
Right.
it's kind of nice to have that variety. I mean, back in the day, we just had one cover, and it's like, do you want direct or do you want, the drugstore version? And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
realistically, they're the same book. You just had the different little
Right.
corner. Um, it's kind of nice, but it can be a dangerous thing too, because if you're like me that loves the art, are you buying this book just for the cover, which you can go online, probably find the picture, print it out, whatever, put it on your phone, type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, I and I'll admit, I have, oh my gosh, which one is it? I think it's X-Men #1. I think the last series is what the
Okay.
Krakoa one. I think the last one they did during Krakoa.
Okay.
I have so many copies of #1 because I'm like, oh, I need that cover. Oh, I need that cover. I need that one. Oh, that one's shiny. I need that one too. Yeah, so many covers, and I got to a point that it's like I looked at how much I was spending just for #1 for this
Yeah.
one cover. I have like
Yeah.
10 copies of it. In 10 years, they ain't gonna be worth anymore.
Right.
So it's one of those things you really got to look at. I think it's great, but you have to be strict and say, okay, I'm either going to get the main cover and one variant, or what's my favorite cover? Because yeah, they can get pricey very quick.
Right. Well, like Chop here is talking about, 21 covers for issue is insane.
Yeah,
Dynamite has just gone ham
dude.
with like
Oh my god, if you want to go check out. I use the CLZ app. Go check out
yes.
Thundercats #1 and see how many
Yes.
freaking covers there are for that stuff.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Oh my god. And I'm scared right now because they're doing another one for my childhood. They're going to be doing Silverhawks in January, I think it
Yeah.
is. I'm
Yeah.
like, so what, we going to have 30 covers for #1 again? It's just insane. Insane.
I think we are because like Thundercats they did that way. I think Space Ghost they went kind of hard on as
Yeah.
well. Like, and then there was something else that they
Johnny
came that was
Quest, they went
nostalgia.
hard on. Uh,
Yeah.
Red Sonja, they always go hard on, which I'm a
Yeah.
sucker for those ones. It's Red Sonja, redhead.
That's funny. Brother John Comics is in the house. What's going on, sir? Appreciate you coming out. He also asked this, or says this. I'm curious on what these cover artists are making money wise versus an artist doing interiors. Do you ever get let down with like you sit there and you get this cover and then you open up the interiors and it's
Hmm.
like
It's like a bait
nothing
and switch
close.
almost. Yeah. It's almost like a
Yeah.
bait and switch. Those days, I mean, it still happens where the interior does the cover. But I think today's day and age, it is a good way for artists to break in, to
Yeah.
start off, which is cool. But sometimes it can be so different. You're like, what? That you're look. It's like, I don't know how many times I bought the cover and loved the cover, and then got the interior, and then it's just like, man, this is not good. Um, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes it can almost, I think, run that line of it might turn off some people, that wasn't what they were expecting and get mad. I mean, I can't say that I've read a comic book and got mad. Well, maybe once, but oh, here. But yeah, I mean, I almost sometimes feel like it's a bait and switch, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those where like the old saying of can't judge a book by its cover. It's like this is the total opposite, or I guess that's exactly what they're saying. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? Like this freaking cover looks fantastic, and then you get on the inside, it's like, huh, well, that's not cool at all.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some covers, and I think it's just it was an oops where they'll feature a character on the cover and then he's not even in the comic. And you're like,
yes,
then
yes.
I've been mad because I'm like, okay, I bought this comic to see Gambit and he's not in here. What the hell?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Having a month to do a dope cover and a month to do full interiors is a huge difference, though. Interior artist and storytellers, not pretty picture maker. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. When that goes back to what you were saying with Jack Kirby as well, like how he told a story through like not only just the individual panels, but like the way the panels flew.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
and that's what I can appreciate. Even if you don't like his blocky, style that he had.
Yeah. Signature King says, if I recall, Batman Rebirth number 50 had 100+ variants. That's crazy. I gotta go look. 100. 100. What?
I think the Turtles that just launched too, number 1, had like
oh my
a
gosh.
lot. I think that had a lot.
Yes. Richard is in the house. What's going on,
Richard?
Homie? Thanks for coming and hanging out. Appreciate you. I've noticed like your back wall, all the books that you have been showing this evening, there has not been one slab that I have seen. Are you against slabbing?
Well, my head's hiding one.
Okay.
But
that's a big one.
that's a big one. That was that was a big goal for me. Was getting that first appearance of Wolverine there.
Yeah.
Which funny enough, I've had plenty of versions of that. I just had one in front of me. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. I see it. I sees it. Nope, I don't see it. Yeah, I do have some slabs. Here it is.
That book is so underrated.
I know John just showed this, and this book, this is the original that I bought on the rack back in the day.
Nice.
Still needs a new bag. Got nasty old tape on it. But yeah, I think that's another one responsible for me wanting to get that one. And I got that one, I think in the fall, back in August. I saved up for that one almost a year of pennies to get that one.
Nice.
And I actually got it off of one of my local stores. The owner's dad, who used to own the store, had a bunch of slabs that he invested in. So that slab is from like 2006 or 7 when they were first started doing slabs in CGC.
Yeah.
So it was one of those, I know where it's coming from. There's no shenanigans and all that. So it's an older slab that I felt comfortable about buying. I have never sent in one, but I do have some. Let me see if I can. I have a couple up there. That one I got. I'm kind of one of those guys that if I'm going to get a slab, I want to get it for a special reason. Now, this one, it's a Red Sonja that's signed by Roy Thomas.
Nice.
I have
so you got 2 signature series up there.
Yeah. And then over here at the top there,
nice.
I have a Lobo that was signed by Simon Beasley. Oh man, they're all hidden. Let me go get them.
Didn't mean to. I'm sorry. He already talked about all the stacks that he has around him. And now I feel bad.
Get them all with
pulling out even more.
I don't know why I was hiding these. So some of these, this one I'm going to show here. I actually won this one in one of those those blind boxes you can buy where you get the chance of winning something type of thing.
Yeah.
So this one I got in one of those. Nice. That's signed by this first appearance of Omega Red. This is signed by Scott Williams.
Okay.
So that one I didn't even buy. I won that as a prize. Oh, I got a big one over there. Let me show you these ones first. My wife got this for me for Christmas last year.
Oh, nice.
She didn't know what to get me, but I'm like, that's cool. She knows enough that, I liked stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Do you
then
consider that to be the first? No, that's not. That's the first appearance of some of like Orion and stuff like that.
yeah. And then I got this like for half off, so I paid $22 for this.
Oh, nice.
A little foily action there. I got to find the regular cover. I want a regular version of that. I had the Lobo one. I think I got one more, and it's actually way over here. This one I think is the cream of my crop for slabs. And this one, I think another one. Since I got that one Wolverine signed, I bought another one, and I hit twice. Signed by Jim Lee. I was like, okay, I'm done now.
Yes, nice.
It's such an iconic cover of his.
Yes,
so,
one of his better ones.
Yeah.
So
that's
you
really
definitely hit good on that one.
All the slabs I have. I mean, I look at them once in a while, but I'm one of those guys that if I'm going to get a slab, I want to get it for a special reason. Like I said, a signature or something like that. Man, I jacked up my camera. Or maybe to preserve it if it's really old type of thing. But I like my raws. I like floppies because I can read it, enjoy it. Like my Gambit and my first appearance of Deadpool, they're all originals. So
yeah,
some of it's just like I don't really care that much to preserve those. I mean, now if those were pre-code type of stuff, maybe I would send it in to preserve it, but I want to read it, enjoy it. And some of it, I don't want to deal with it. I've heard too many horror stories that I just don't want to deal with. I want my books around me. I don't want it somewhere for 8 months wondering,
Richard does ask, how do you have so many comics and every comic is in
small room? Small room.
That's funny. Yeah, I was just curious about that. I was like, he's showing an awful lot of books, and like some of these are big books that are not slabbed. Like, I wonder if he just doesn't like the slabbing. So, but it makes total sense to sit there and it be a special thing, either a signing or something like that. Like,
a lot of like those bigger ones, those older ones that I showed off were ones that I bought for $1, $2.
Okay,
back in the day. I'm just lucky that I got them when they came out, and now they're worth something. But I mean, they're kind of personal to me, like they are. That if I send them in, it's not going to feel the same to me. I think. I can't read encased comic in plastic.
Right. So. Yeah. TJ said, you should have bought the Hulk 180 if you want the first appearance. Then.
Is it up there? It's over. It's over there. You know what? I don't even argue with that. I just got them both. I'm like, I got them all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same for they say with Gambit too. It's like, they argue first appearance. I'm like, I'll just get them both. And then I got them all.
Right.
All the appearances.
Yeah. That's funny. Signature King says, "Oh, we talking SIGs now? I'm listening."
Yeah, I have a couple too that I purposely went after because they were signed. I just got this the other day. It's not really that big of a book, but I think it's cool that it's signed.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's during the whole death of Superman, and they had Eradicator and all that stuff, but it's kind of cool variant to have. It's kind of like a little piece of history, right?
Who's the signature?
This is Jackson Geiss, who was the artist at that time on Superman Action Comics. So
nice.
all these special like die cuts they did at that time, because I think if you open this up, he's got his old lady glasses on and stuff. Eradicator guy. I think a lot of them they did. I found a seller that has all those books signed. He must have took them to a show or something and had them signed. And I think that cost me $8 for a signature.
Oh, yeah.
So I like going after those because it's kind of a little piece of history that I can appreciate. I got this one book. It's Spider-Man #1, Amazing Spider-Man #1. I think it's volume 2. That the cover is John Romita Jr., but his dad did the inks in the book. So
oh wow,
I found a copy of it that's double signed by both of them, and I'm like, Senior's not signing any more books,
right?
I watched this book for a long time, and it is one of those they threw out an offer to you, and I was like, okay, I'm going to jump on it, and it's raw. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it's got a certificate. If I ever do want to, preserve it, get it graded, I have that to go on. But again, I don't want it out of my house. I don't want it out of my sight type of thing, So
that's funny. Let's see. There was something that was said. I thought something was said. Maybe it wasn't. Oh, here it is. It's not something that was said. Somebody came in. It was my honey. Hey, honey. Love you bunches. Let's see. Richard says, fun fact about Hulk 180.
here we go.
It's the 181st appearance of Hulk in his own series. I don't think that's correct. Because Hulk didn't start, the Incredible Hulk didn't start until end of Tales to Astonish.
Yeah, it went 5 or 6 issues, switched.
It was 6 for the original volume. And then it was issue 101 of Tales of Astonish, if I remember right, that it started as Incredible Hulk. And then Namor got his own #1. If I remember that all correctly. If I remember it.
I got a pile somewhere.
He says, what? No way.
I got a pile somewhere.
He's got a pile.
Here we go. Wait, no. Is there reprints? Oh, I got a pile.
Chop says the death of Superman and the funeral for a friend series was so enjoyable.
Well, that's yeah. And I know you can get those as trades for really affordable prices. Well,
Signatures. LOL, fake news. Richard, I'm spreading fake news.
oh, I hit a pile.
That's fantastic.
I think I just found it. I'm organized, really.
I was going to say, I'm just saying. Sorry, guys. You can call me seeing.
I keep my piles in a theme. So here's like a Hulk theme.
Oh,
pile,
nice.
Where I picked up.
Ooh, and more. That's a good one.
Here it is. 102.
Okay, there you go.
It came back.
Nice.
And I got this in a pile because I think I featured this as a post on Instagram. So I posted this one, and then I posted the reprint of it, Marvel Superheroes reprint, different cover. And then more recent series, the newest one, they kind of did the same thing again.
Yeah, they did.
So yeah, kind of cool to see that theme.
Nice.
What else do I got in here? some Lobo.
Oh yes, I like that. You just showed that off here recently in one of your videos.
Yeah, it's like I found one of these and it took me forever to find the other one.
That's funny.
Okay, let me move my Hulk pile.
So, all right, we've talked about artists. We've talked about the runs, the reading. But what? All right, so you also mentioned characters. We know Wolverine is a favorite of yours. Obviously, I assume that you like Hulk as well.
Hulk's kind of similar to Spider-Man. I read him for a while, I go away, read him for a while. It's one of those things that he's a character similar where it's like the story kind of starts to get repetitive to me. There's only so much Hulk smash you can read. Right. So I usually jump around in his different eras to see what they're doing with them. And I've recently come back to him just because I love this new series they're doing where it's monster oriented. I love the monsters, Blade. Ghost Rider, all those guys from the 70s, Tomb of Dracula. And yeah, they're kind of doing that with him. So I'm back in with him. Some of the other characters I like is I mentioned Aqua Bro, Aquaman. Somebody's gonna yell at me because they're gonna be like, it's gonna be stuck in their head. Oh, what else do I got here? Here's probably my first Batman I've ever read. Was this trade?
Okay,
old trade of Death in the Family.
Those are starting to become like collector's things where people are looking for those first prints of the trades and
Yeah,
stuff.
I know, and I'm like, ooh.
That's funny.
This is a whole pile of Batman I got here. Here's a big one I got. You can't see it.
Oh, nice.
But it is, let's see, it's signed by Starlin on the first page. And
Wow.
This fall, I took it with me to the Comic-Con, and I got DeCarlo to sign it. So
nice.
That's the only next one. Maybe be Oh wait,
Did you get
maybe
McFarlane?
McFarlane. I think McFarlane maybe signed it, not Starlin. So Starlin's the one I still have to get.
Holy crap!
I'm just saying.
Okay, here's another one, but don't worry, this one is so beat.
Oh, nice.
There was a big one on my list, but look at that. Oh yeah, chewy.
Still, that's fantastic.
This was one of those that any grade is better than no grade type of thing.
Right.
And the price point is okay. So I'm one of those guys that, especially with these big books, I don't mind them being beat to heck and tape on them because I can still read them and enjoy them.
Yeah.
Like this one, it's first Mara, but I think I paid $20 for it because it's it's kind of beat up, and I'm okay with that. I'm like, it's complete, and I'm fine with that. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So what other characters? Other characters I like, huh? What do I got here? What do I have?
What is it about Aqua Bro? Because like you don't hear too many people who are like I know he had his own cartoon back in the day, so maybe that was part of it.
That's part of it. I think another part is that very similar to Daredevil, nobody likes him, so he's easy to collect.
He is
about Daredevil, but he's not super popular, so I can find his books for cheap. The only big books he has is number 1, which I have already. First appearance of Black Manta, first appearance of Ocean Master. Mira sometimes can be pricey if it's a nice book, but the rest of it's just, they're fillers. So I think that's part of it. Another part, and I sat and thought about this because my wife asked me, why do you like him? He's kind of dorky. And thinking about it as a child, being exposed to the Super Friends in the 70s, and that original Justice League, he was on the team, and I think I related to him because as a child, not that you can tell now, I was a blonde-haired boy, so there's this blonde-haired superhero that I think I related to it, and it stuck with me the rest of my life. I like to swim.
Well, you're saying one of your books had, you probably had sand in it and stuff like that. So did you live near a coast? Is that?
No, there was just like the little Park District beach we had.
Okay.
They called it the Pit. And basically it was just a dugout hole with water in it and a beach, and you would swim in. It was like summer camp stuff. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to put those in my backpack, and when I didn't want to play the sports ball or whatever, I'd sit and just read.
Gotcha.
I mean, I was a very solitary kid growing up. I was an only child. I had to entertain myself, and comics kind of entertained me. Took me to new worlds and all that old story, and me being always drawing as a kid and stuff too, is like I would sit and just study the composition, the anatomy, and all that stuff that they did in comics. So, yeah, I have a lot of old comics that probably you can see that I traced and stuff back in the day.
That's funny. Let's see. Let's go through the chat real quick. There's a lot that's been going on. Let's see. Back up top, Colossus said, "That's a Purdy Hulk 102." I agree. Chop defending Richard on his 181. Richard's running for president now, apparently. And he's got votes. And he's already got votes. So we're all writing Richard in 2028 for presidency. Let's see. Signature King Mike DiCarlo is an awesome dude. That's pretty cool. So the books that you've have you taken any to go and get, like, are some of these ones that are in slabs, are they ones that you bought that were already signed, or did you take them and
yeah,
then
I bought them off like different sites, eBay, or some of them I got at our local store, or those Wolverine ones I got in that blind, like playing the lottery. I'm surprised I got those. It's like a Wolverine themed, mystery box is what I wanted to say. I can't remember the name of the company. They still do stuff like that they sell different themed ones. Like, I think when I got those, they had a Hulk one too, but I can't remember what the big book was in there. Might have been like McFarlane.
Got you. I saw where, like, we were talking about that Batman earlier. You said you got McFarlane on that, and then there was one that earlier that had Chris Claremont, as well as I'm trying to think of who else was on that. It was the Heroes.
Oh,
X-Men,
Art Adams on
Hope.
that one.
Yes. So were those ones that you'd met those people?
Yeah. The last probably 2 years, I kind of started going back to the Comic Cons. I mean, the last time I went to was when Wizard was running them in the
nice
late 90s into the early 2000s. And that was when it was a little more affordable to get signatures. You just walk up to the table and they charge you maybe $5-10.
Yeah.
But it's like, I wasn't as into it back then. When I was going to that, I was going for like, God, that was when Star Wars was blowing up with the prequels and stuff. So I was going for that stuff, not so much the comic stuff. I have too many hobbies. So I have if you guys are curious, just go watch my video where I'm showing off my nerd cave and stuff. You can see some of the Star Wars stuff. But yeah, so I didn't think about that stuff back then. So when I started going back 2 years ago, and my wife, God bless her, was my handler holding books while I'm like, sign my book for me. And Chris Claremont was there. I was like, oh, I'm going ape shit. I'm bringing all my big books that I've had for years. I'm going to get him to sign them. And yeah, I'm going to be gold. And then I felt guilty because I brought so many books. And I'm like, I don't want to be one of those guys that comes up with the cart, opens a short box. So I gave a bunch to my wife. And I said, okay, you sign these ones. Here's some money. I'm going to go in front of you and get these ones signed. I mean, I didn't go crazy. I think I got 10 books signed. But she's like nervous. She didn't know what to say to him. And I kind of gave her a question to ask him. And I forgot. If nobody knows this about Claremont, he can be salt, or he could be sugar sometimes.
I've heard, yes.
And usually when it's a lady, he's usually sugar. And the fact that my wife is a redhead too, I gave her, and she was wearing a Phoenix shirt, and I gave her a little primer question, and she asked him, and he just started going. He likes his characters and he likes to talk, man. And she's just standing there. She's like, I didn't know how to stop him. I said, just keep giving him books. They'll just keep signing.
Just keep feeding him.
Yeah. So that, it's one of those, I wanted to start going to these shows to see these creators, writers, artists that kind of inspired me, got me into certain books and stuff like that while I can, because I kind of feel like I missed out a lot of time uh, when, in the 90s and the 2000s. I missed John Buscema. I missed, all these artists from the 70s because a lot of them passed in the 90s or in the 2000s. So I just missed
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, I met Stan like the year before he passed. And
Oh, wow.
I have a regret for it though, because I am a dumbass and didn't bring a book. I didn't bring a comic. I didn't bring Spider-Man. I didn't bring Fantastic. I didn't bring nothing. I brought my kid. We took a picture with Stan and he signed the picture. Right there.
Nice.
My son's like, who's this old man in the, what's he wearing? His members only coat.
That's funny.
No, my son knew who Stan Lee was at that time. I mean, he was in every movie at that time with a little cameo and, yelling Excelsior and stuff. So he knew who he was.
Yeah. That's great.
But still, one of my small regrets.
What book would you have had him sign?
Probably one of my X-Men books.
Okay.
See, at that time, though, I don't think I had any big ones, I didn't have like First Sentinels or I'm trying to think of First Polaris or, I didn't have any of those big books at that time that he would sign. I probably, with what I had, would have had him sign one of my Spider-Mans, I think. Just because I think when people think of Spider-Man, they think of Stan Lee. That was, his big push, especially in the 70s. If you saw Stan, you saw Spider-Man, So I think that's probably what I would have done, but oh well.
Who was your favorite to have met and talked to?
It's actually not a veteran guy. I've met some veteran artists and creators, but I think one of the coolest dudes that I met in this, well, oh, shoot, I just thought of another one. So just this year, I met Jeremy Adams, who's the writer for Green Lantern, the current Green Lantern.
Yes.
Dude was so friendly, and he's asking me about the channel, and he's like, if you ever want to interview, hit me up type of thing. He was very, very cool. But I think other than that, for probably Joshua Cassara, if anybody's met him, he is the same thing. He's kind of just a laid back dude doing his thing. I remember meeting him. I had him sign a couple books with like Wolverine. Wolverine's kind of his big thing to draw. And he just sitting there, and I was looking through his book, and I start asking him questions about art, just art techniques and stuff. And all of a sudden we were like two art nerds just talking about different pens and style. And, he uses washes when he, does stuff. And yeah, he was just very cool. And somebody came up to do, get a signing or something from him. He just, he wouldn't like cut you off. He'd finish his sentence, sign, talk to this person a little bit. Most of the time the people would just get it signed and leave, but then he would jump back into a conversation with you. So it's just like, wow, I'm okay. I'm not bothering you, I guess. So yeah, he was very, very cool about that. He's one of those types that he's doing what he loves, and he doesn't consider himself a celebrity or, he doesn't feel like he's, looks at himself that way, that he's special type thing. He's just another geek just like us. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was very cool to talk with him.
I get that feeling from Jeremy Adams as well, because you're talking about him to begin with, like just following him on his IG, like he is just ecstatic to be writing.
Oh yeah,
and he's just a big old nerd, and I love it.
And I think throughout that weekend, like when I'd walk by the booth or something, he'd see me and he'd yell out "Side Quest." He's like, "Side Quest!" It's just like, you remember who I am? I mean, that was 2 days ago, dude. You remember who I am? So
you made a lasting impression. That's awesome.
I mean, that's kind of cool that he actually took the time to like remember, you're not just a number or a body that just shows up to get stuff signed. So
yeah. Well, cool. Do you have any other stacks that you're wanting to show off?
Oh my. Probably. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was like we're talking about all these different things that I like collecting. Um, I think I showed off all those. Or I can show this one from Mon.
Yes.
All of them. First prints.
Wow. That's
Or
crazy.
here's another one. I think I have multiple copies in this one. The
Nice.
first three. So this artist, Mark Nelson, was my art teacher in college.
No shit.
And I was such a freaking fanboy. I couldn't go, oh, Mr. Nelson, can you sign my comic book and I'll turn in my assignment on time. No, I couldn't do that. I just did my assignment. I was such a geek back then. I couldn't do it.
That's so cool though.
Let's see. These I showed you. I showed you those. Here's kind of a neat little tidbit that I dug out. Now, I got this in the 80s. How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and John Buscema.
Yes.
So this was my Bible as a kid, teaching you perspective and how to draw the form and just different dynamic poses. You know, this is one of the things I like about Buscema is his energy that he draws in his forms. Yeah, this was some neat stuff. Talks about different layouts. And I know they've reprinted this a couple times. I think I have a newer print where it's just Stan's teaches you how to draw the Marvel way. Oh, here's a pile I don't think I showed you. So some of the other books that I liked collecting back in the day, and I'm still trying to finish this run, is this series. If you guys see this series, pick it up. It's very different from Marvel back in the day because it's not superheroes. Well, it is kind of. The whole story is it's in the future. There's an alien invasion, and the government gives these selected humans, they activate like a gene in them that gives them superpowers. The catch is it's going to burn their bodies out. So in a year, they'll die. But to basically sign up for this, their families are set for life type of thing. So it's an interesting story. You know, I think it was 30 issues. Very different for the time. There's some interesting artists that got their start in the series doing covers or whatever. Here's an early series that I absolutely love. You find this in dollar bins.
Yeah.
Camelot. Here's a guilty pleasure. Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew.
Yes.
I loved this stuff as a kid. Superhero animals, sure. I think this is a series that got me into Green Lantern a little more. I mean, I always knew who he was, but this was a series that got me into it. And then I am one of the guilty ones that was into the new universe. And yes, I mean, I do have this whole series, but this was interesting because it kind of was shades of X-Men. It was a superpower team that were, you know, they were shunned. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about was through my progression of collecting and different runs, I have probably in the last 6 months started doing this, where I'm starting to think of creative ways to collect. And this is kind of an interesting thing for anybody that's out there that's like, where do you start? What do you collect? And I know a lot of people say, oh, collect what you like, right? That's kind of the go-to, what's interesting. Right. Well, this is kind of an example of something that's interesting and different. So, and it kind of started with this. So this is what I got so far. The anniversary covers.
Oh, wow.
Collecting themes, I guess is what you want to call it. So I've been trying to collect all these covers. I have 22 of these. There's 30 of them.
That's
so
a good number, by the way.
I am almost there. I got 2 of them. I upgraded right away. Yeah, so I mean, I need the hard to find Star Comic ones like Care Bears and Muppet Babies and what is just turn backwards. So yeah, I got all these cool ones. Some of these, like this one, I think I found for $1.
Yeah.
This one can be pricey, but I found it for fairly cheap. So they're out there,
Yeah.
But yeah, this was one of the things I started down a rabbit hole of collecting. Of course, these ones are, look at that. See how nasty that bag is? That's original. And then, yeah. So that's one of the ones I started collecting. I'm still working on it. I think the most expensive one for this is that Care Bears one. It's like ridiculous prices on that one.
Yeah. The Care Bears, the Muppet Babies, and the Ewoks, I think, are the big hitters for that.
Yeah. Those are all the ones I need. I'm getting too picky about them too. That's the problem. Because it's like, if I'm going to spend close to that amount, I want it to be, why am I spending that much? I want it to be kind of nice, not just to get it type of thing.
Yeah.
And then one of the other ones I like doing, so I have this all in like a box set, this Deceased or the DC versus Vampires. I love these covers. They are terrifying.
Yes.
I mean, my wife says these are gross, but I tell her, I'm like, think about it. Superman, he's a zombie. What are you going to do?
Right.
He's going to eat your brains and, and lick his lips. You ain't doing nothing. This one terrifies me. So yeah, I eventually got all of these.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that one's pretty terrifying too. I don't know.
I like that.
And then all the vampire ones. So I've been starting to get these ones. Same thing. I got them in like a hardcover trade of these, but I see some pretty cool variant covers. I've been starting to pick them up. And then another one, I have been starting to collect weird, like just weird stuff that's different. So, here's another little stack. I started collecting these.
Oh, yes.
The mashups of Marvel and DC that are just fun.
Bad thing, yes.
Trying to figure out what they are, what they represent. This one was a kind of a hard one to find.
Oh, yeah, that was a pricey book.
Yeah. This one cracks me up. Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So weird. Let's see. What's another good one? I think
Doctor Strange Fate's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think I got that one in here. Oh, yep, there.
That Generation Hex that you showed, I like that one.
Yes,
I love that.
There's this one I like, Speed Demon.
Yes.
I don't have Dark Claw here, which was the Batman Wolverine.
Oh, yeah, that's a big heavy hitter one, too.
I don't know why I don't have that one here. It's probably downstairs.
JLX, yes.
Yeah. With my man. So I threw him a bone. And then here's another one I just started. So I found this as a freebie, and I grabbed it and didn't realize how big of a thing it was. But then I found, some of the other ones, the Atom, Flash, Tangent Comics, the Joker, kind of same thing, a different, different universe, different take on them. Huh. So I thought that was interesting. I think there's quite a bit of these still out there that I haven't found. What is all this? Batgirl. Oh, here's one. I don't know why it wasn't there. This was a big one I was hunting for. Iron Lantern. Yes. Very cool. I don't know why it was kind of shoved in there. Okay, and then this is also kind of, I realized I have a lot of these already, so I'm like, well, I might as well chase them, right? Make them part of a quest, the collection.
Yeah.
And Nate at Hall Yeah will appreciate these ones. This one I just got the other day. It's ridiculous. Bushido blade. It's a samurai walrus. And look at him. He's fighting all these ninja ducks. And I find it weird that the one thing that's not an animal is the blonde in the red swimsuit. So he's defending the human. I guess.
Yeah.
Here's an old one from back in the day. Boris the Bear. I have almost this whole series from Dollar Bins.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, it's the old black and white, which is very cool to me. This book right here, if you guys see this is the one to grab.
Yes.
I'll show everybody because I think it's hilarious because there's feet. There's a little hint for everybody. Right there.
Yes.
Right there. First published
That's
live
it.
field. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
$1. So they're affordable out there. Fish police. Thought needed it. Like, oh, I don't have fish police. I need fish police.
That's funny.
I think this is mine from back in the day, Hamster Vice. It's probably part of my turtles collection, but it was something different. I still had for some reason, but not the turtles. What the heck, Mom? And then I picked this one up recently, Hamster Vice in 3D, and the 3D glasses are in there.
Oh, so, nice.
Kind of a cool pickup. This is, I think I had this from the original, and it took me a while to find. I had a second print of it. I think this was the one I found in this. I think this was a discount bin, not a dollar bin, a discount bin. But they had like 4 of them, I think. So I was looking at see which ones are nicer, and I flipped it up, and I was like, okay, what kid wrote in this? And then I was like, oh, wait a second, that's the artist and the writer. So I got a copy of the artist and writer signed for, I think that was $2.
Oh, wow. So that's awesome.
That was a cool little find.
Yeah.
I used to watch this cartoon.
Duckula.
It was part of, you guys remember Danger Mouse? It was part of the same world.
Okay.
Count Duckula. Here's a recent pickup. Samurai Penguin. So we had Samurai Walrus. Now we got Samurai Penguin.
No flying.
This one's Renegade Rabbit, the Good, the Bad, and the Furry. I mean, I just like that it's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
I mean, is he saying, are you feeling lucky, punk? Oh, wait, that's a different movie. And then I got a couple more here for the animals. Preteen, Dirty Jean, Kung Fu Kangaroos. Come on. Is this not a knockoff or what?
That's freaking fantastic.
So was this number 2? I need number 1 still. I haven't found it. But I did just find number 3. For $3.
The 3.
I didn't care. It's $3, yeah. Versus Fast Food Fiends. All right, and then last but not least, I actually paid $5 for this. Wow. Power Pachyderms. And gee, what cover are they knocking off?
I must say, nice X-Men homage there.
It says, warning, any similarity between this book and the X-Men is probably just a cheap commercial ploy. Yeah. Well, it worked. I got it, right? One and done.
That's
so, yeah, hilarious. I mean, stuff like this. You find a theme and just have some fun. These are so fun to find these in the wild and get. And, you know, I think, or stuff like this pile back here. So I recently showed some of these off, but like this one was a cool find. I don't know what this is, but what it is, it's like, it's early Grant Morrison in it.
No.
So yeah, I found this and I was like, oh, I'll pay what I paid, $30. I'll pay $30 for this old 70s. I think it was like 79 or something. This came out. You know, it's a UK.
Grant Morrison did some of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
He did. It's like one of those 70s anthology sci-fi black and white stuff from the UK. So I was like, that's kind of cool.
How old is Grant Morrison?
I think this was like right at the start of his career is when this came out. So I thought it was pretty cool find.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I've started turning into this collector that just I get stuff because either I find it funny for some reason or I think it's cool. Like who doesn't want a Ric Flair comic? I mean, this is just ridiculous. He's like a secret agent, and the whole wrestling thing is just a cover. Yeah, I love Ric Flair. Or this one I showed recently too. Didn't know it existed, but I needed it. I know this was, I guess, doing research, only available in video stores in the 80s. So it wasn't sold in comic stores. So
nice.
if you guys see it, grab that. Speaking of movies, who doesn't love Snake Plissken? I don't know how many issues this was. It was in 97. So it's probably, releasing with Escape from LA. I think that was about the same time.
Is that supposed to be Kurt Russell with an eye patch?
That's supposed to be Kurt Russell with an eye patch.
That's fantastic.
Just call me Snake.
Right?
I'm saving the best for last. If you have a Van Damme,
I'm telling you right now, if there's a Bloodsport comic out there, I'm gonna lose my shit. Like,
I think Bloodsport came out right when he was starting to break out, so I don't know if there was a comic.
I think so too.
I think with that one, Cyborg, I think they were trying to make it like a kind of big, Terminator. Let's market this, but
yeah,
the movie.
I was gonna say that cover gives me major Terminator vibes.
Yeah,
and then the title Cyborg. Yeah,
and then so this one I personally dug out for Nate a while ago with his Night Cat obsession. So this is Alley Cat, and I tried researching this. It's hard to find, but I think this was a model actress that talked Image into doing this as promotion type of stuff. It was like a 6-issue series, and she had a one shot. And
oh wow,
very, very interesting time. And you could get the action figure.
Oh my goodness.
And do whatever you want. All right, and then the best for last, and this is the cool thing. I just found out this week they reprinted I think they're calling it a legacy edition. So you guys have to look this up. It is Mullet Cop, the flavor of danger. I love this stuff. I saw this and I was just like, oh my God, the guy's got that mullet going. He's on his Segway. And I really like the art in this. It's very stylistic, very 80s is what it reminds me of. And the best part, he rides into the sunset on his Segway. So yeah, and I just found out they reprinted this this week. I use some comic release app on my phone to see what comes out from week to week, and this was in the listing. I was like, what? They reprinted it? So I gotta find this.
I think I saw you showing that on a live with
probably
Nate.
Hall, because some of these books I like to take to his show and just make him squirm because he's like, I need this now.
And as soon as I saw it, I went over to mycomicshop.com and it listed out. There's that issue, then there's another issue that comes before that, and then there's another issue after that that's like an 8x8 or something. It's a square book instead of a comic book or whatever. So, and I think they had it. And I was like, hey, look, Nate, here you go. Found it for you, bro.
I'm just spreading the love. Funny. That's what it's about, right? Spreading the love.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big part of why I started my channel, was just to, I don't know, just kind of highlight things that either I thought was interesting or people didn't know existed type of thing. And just have fun and show off cool stuff. And I mean, was it this Wednesday? So Lunch Money Mike, I can't remember if it was a video for this week. He featured a Quasar book in it. And I wrote that sucker down and I went and I found it this Wednesday because I was like, I need that book. So I'm still getting books that I see other people feature. So
nice.
I mean, that's kind of the fun thing for me is featuring, shenanigan books like that. that people are like, I need that. I can't live without that. So it's kind of
Right.
fun. It's kind of fun.
That's fantastic. Well, cool. We
All
have
right.
reached the hour and 45-minute mark. So, last call. If there's any other books you'd like to show off.
Holy cow. I think I went through all my piles, dude.
Nice.
Which you saw the piles beforehand. Well, here, I didn't show off these ones. Some guilty pleasures. So I did mention I like monster books.
Yeah.
Buffy. A lot of them
Buffy.
come around Buffy. Which
Is that
I
a
heard
Campbell?
that is Art Adams.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
Very early in his career.
Yeah.
I think I have some Alex Ross around here somewhere too. Here's an artist I didn't mention that I absolutely fell in love with this past year, and I knew of his stuff. I have like some Frankenstein graphic novel of him. Bernie Wrightson.
Yes.
Love his art style. He's one of those artists I consider to be like a classically trained artist. Just the way he lays out stuff. Very cool. Here's another one by Bernie. Something he did with Pacific Comics. And then I think it changed. I think by the last 2 issues. I think I need the last issue of this. And with him, I don't know if you can see, like in this, it's his line work. I love his line work.
Yeah.
For shading.
Yeah.
If you guys get a chance, look up. It's a graphic novel he did for Frankenstein where he did all the artwork in it. And the artwork will blow your mind. The level of detail and cross hatching and just line work is just ridiculous. How he used just black and white to define shapes and shade and stuff. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, so I have gotten into the 70s monster stuff.
Yes.
And I got to finish this run before I go back to Werewolf, but I'm almost done getting this run.
That's a big book. Nice.
So I need this one, and I think I got right there. Number 12 I got from Colossal Collector. So, yeah, I just got to fill in those couple from around that one. Like I need 9, 10, I think 13, almost done. Almost there.
Okay. Nice.
So, but yeah, I think I showed off just about everything I was going to show you. Some more weird ones.
Y2K.
Yeah, this I saw this. I was like, oh, I got to read this. And it's hilarious because it's just disaster. It's like, I think this came out in 99. It was things that they thought was going to happen.
I was going to say, yeah. Yes, Kool-Aid Man.
Chasing these. Mailing my little UPC things that you cut out.
Yes.
Here's a good one.
Flaming Carrot. There's another one for Nate. Yeah.
Yeah. This was a deal. I found this for $25 at a store.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't believe it. I like finding these old Star comics too. So I'm chasing. Here's one I'm chasing. I got all of them around McFarlane's first published work.
Is it number 12 Coyote that it's?
I think it's 13. So I got
it's 13.
I got 12 and 14, but I can't find that one. Yeah. Can't afford the original. Look at the milestones, man.
Yes.
This is on that list, but holy cow. Right now is not the time to get this.
No.
Because that was another thing. One of my collections was I went and tracked down just different covers of Doom. Most of them Fantastic Four, but I found some his solo stuff. I found them in different like Secret Wars. Found them, those covers. He's one of those characters that he's been in Daredevil, he's been in Spider-Man, he's been in X-Men. I mean, he's crossed over a lot of different comics.
Luke Cage.
Yeah.
That's a funny issue.
But There's some of those. Yeah, I think I pretty much did just about everything that I have around me. Um, I mean,
Awesome. Awesome. You
I got more
accomplished
piles.
it.
Yeah, I went through all my piles. So,
Nice.
but yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed me just showing off some cool stuff, and I hope somebody wrote down some books they need to have now.
Oh, I freaking enjoyed it. So I'm thoroughly excited about it. We got a question from TJ. He says, "Is there a Chuck Norris comic?"
Yes, there is. It came out in I think it was the late '80s, early '90s. It's like I think it's Chuck Norris and such and such and such. It was a kid comic, but yeah, there's one out there
I think it's like a 3-issue series.
because they made a toy line. That's what the
Yeah.
comic's based on. So
I
if
didn't
you
know
need a
they
Chuck
toy
Norris
line.
toy, it's out there with his.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Let's see what else we got in here. Um, Colossus Collector says, Eric, early today. What book should I show tonight? How about everything? I don't even think we got everything. That's the deal. I don't even
No,
think
I
we got
think I made
everything.
such a mess that I probably mixed some stuff up, and um, I'm gonna show this for Nate again
Yeah.
because it's the awesomest movie.
That's so
Second to
funny.
Conan.
Oh, that's so funny. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming
thanks
on,
for
man.
having
I
me on.
greatly appreciate you. Love your collection. It's fantastic. And like I said, I know we didn't see everything, so I'm absolutely going to have you back on again so we can see more of what's going on. And then, like, what you've picked up in between, because I know you're not stopping anytime soon.
Uh, there's piles I just couldn't reach over there. I mean, I'm looking at the Nth Man. I just got the last issue of that. I found some tribute comics for Gene Colan and Batgirl, and yeah, I got piles there, piles there, and yeah, it's everywhere.
Let us know what you got coming up soon on your channel or if you're going to anybody else's.
I should be appearing on, I think, Nate's channel. Hall, yeah. We were going to do a discussion, an artist discussion, which should be
Nice.
interesting. I think it was going to be this week, and he rescheduled it, or is going to reschedule it.
Yeah.
Council of Xmas is Monday, so we're going to do a holiday show for that over on Colossal Collector Show.
Nice.
I think we're on episode 13 of the Council of X. So I think I need to do some more digging and dig out some Christmas covers, uh, which I started in my little notebook before we came on. I started doing digging out Christmas covers. So, and that's another stuff with us getting in the holiday season. I'm going to probably the week of Christmas do more themed stuff like I think last year I did uh, 12 Christmas covers, 12 days of Christmas, but 12
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Christmas covers. I think I'm planning on doing a video where I do a read through of a Christmas story. I did that last year with my wife, um, and it was kind of entertaining for some people from somebody that doesn't really know the characters all that well. It's a lot of fun for us to do. I think it was TJ mentioned he was waiting for us to do another one together because she comes up with some interesting names for characters. And yeah, we'll probably do another one of the Who's Dat soon. And I'm planning on doing a Christmas read through with her again. I just don't know what story yet. I've gotten a lot of Christmas comics lately, so I've been getting these. I got a bunch of these big old treasury ones, and I think it might be
Oh,
one
nice.
of this because the Marvel ones are cool, but they just kind of take place during Christmas. They're not really Christmas themed. And
Yeah.
Christmas with the superheroes actually has a little more themed. So I got to pick one out in here. I'm trying to decide which one to do. Some of them are a little wordy, so I don't know if I want to do a wordy one or, uh, you know. So I think I got that one in the works, and then yeah, just basic, same old. I got some haul videos in the coming down the pipeline, and Probably some more. I haven't done one in a while. 10 for tens, where I go to the store that has dollar bins, and so I don't go nuts. It's something I came up with. Let's come up with rules
Yeah.
that I break all the time, of course, and take out $10 books for $10. So
Nice.
I think I got some of those with Black Friday. I got some books there, and I know with Christmas coming, they're gonna do some more sales like that. So I'll probably have more of that stuff. I think people like that, the dollar books, because I don't think people realize what you can find in those bins.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think sometimes people get surprised what I pull out, and I'm like, oh, when I think just by sheer volume, when you buy it, a good share, you're gonna come out with some winners. So
Yeah.
it just depends how
Cool.
picky you are, right? If you don't mind them being like this one, did I grab it? Yeah, like this one. Nom 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 nom. You're okay.
That is fantastic. Cool. Well, coming up for the next Collecting Uncensored, I don't have a thumbnail for it. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to show that. But it's kind of a weird one anyways. It was close to Christmas, and I was like, I don't know what to necessarily do. I don't know who to invite. However, my wife has been like thoroughly excited about the idea of interviewing me for this show. And so I said, that's probably the best time. Let's just do it then. So next up, you'll have a new host. It'll be my wife, and she'll be interviewing myself. So there you go. Come around here 2 weeks from now to check out that interview and see how that goes. Eric, again, thank you so much for coming and hanging out, dude. I love your collection. Like I said, we're gonna have you back on. Appreciate you, man, so much. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for hanging out with us this evening. I greatly appreciate y'all. And yeah, thanks for hanging out and support. So, as always, y'all have a good one.